If anyone interfered with that, he would simply remove them. Zelanus has that power. So, no matter who you are, I will let you, king of the insects. Someone got in the way. One who is not afraid of Zelanus. Diablo. Dino shouted joyfully. Diablo, whom he would hate if he were his enemy, is a much more dependable friend. Even against the despair of Zelanus, Diablo seemed to be able to handle it. Diablo looks at Dino coldly. You're a creep, Dino, and you should get everyone to safety. Diablo stands in front of Zelanus, saying casually. Thus, the battle between Diablo, the king of black, and Zelanus, the king of bugs, has broken out. Facing Diablo, Zelanus stood his ground. He throws Zegion out of the way. Zelanus is a coward. That is why he knows in advance who is in danger in this labyrinth. There was no one, but the moment he saw Diablo up close, Zelanus felt a chill. It was a dangerous sign. It was the same as he had felt when he had faced Demon Lord Millum. The sign was small, but it was not an opponent to be underestimated. Zelanus was different from the others when he could recognize it. Insect Lord Zelanus, let me test you to see how good you are. You really have the nerve to call me, demon. He interrupted his conversation and Zelanus moved silently. He slips through the wall of air and spins around behind Diablo. He spins around and throws a kick to the back of Diablo's head. From the back-to-back position, the kick was aimed at the back of Diablo's head, which was defenseless. But Diablo reacted as if he had read the kick. He leaned forward and kicked backward. Zelanus's kick was intercepted by Diablo's kick. Zelanus was one size bigger than Diablo. Zelanus's kick was a heavy one, as if he was going to hit Diablo from above, but it was offset by Diablo's kick. It was more forceful than Carrera's crumpled arms, but Diablo was unperturbed. Both men continued to move away. The exoskeleton covering Zelanus's entire body glowed with rainbow colors. Good grief, it's a hurricane. It's going to be hard to crush. Diablo transformed his mana to reveal scissors blades. The 5 blades shine in rainbow colors. It was a sign of mythical grade. Stop laughing. Don't dream what you can't do. Zelanus's whole body was in motion as if he were breathing. The silvery hairs running from his forehead to his back stood on end, shining in the light reflected from the labyrinth. 2 pairs of wings, one from the back and the other from the waist, glow red and spread wide as if threatening Diablo. Zelanus uncrosses his 3 pairs of arms, which had remained crossed, and takes a stance for each. The lower arm prepared for magic, and the upper arm vibrated to become a blade. To receive their attacks with bare hands would be like asking them to cut you into pieces, and the middle arm was a deadly lion that would stand up to any attack from Diablo. Zelanus had no weaknesses. He had the means to attack at long, medium, and short range, in all situations. The existence value includes values that are not related to combat. Since it includes values of power not usually used, the effective number may not be that large. In the case of Zelanus, however, almost all of the values are related to his combat ability. The ultimate fighting life form is exactly what Zelanus is. But Diablo is not afraid. He was enjoying the battle against Zelanus, who was supposed to be overwhelmingly superior to him, and whom he had no chance of winning. It is common knowledge that mana, which refers to the instantaneous maximum output, is more important than just the amount of magicule. Diablo specialized in the mana. The amount of missing magicule could be supplied from the atmosphere. Therefore, they are not confused by the numbers, but just yearn for pure strength. Humans have always been Diablo's boredom killers. Most of them were boring, but some of them had beautiful souls that shone brightly. Like Shizuizawa. The courage to challenge an opponent who could never be beaten was also an element that fascinated Diablo. The way he desperately struggled against his destiny was beautiful, even though it was muddy. That is why Diablo, although he is a strong man, is thoroughly focused on the way he fights. He did not just want to win, but to have the real strength to win under any circumstances. This experience was put to good use in the battle against Zelanus. In most cases, the battle between transcendents is either over in an instant or prolonged. Diablo was never in a hurry because he knew this well. If Zegion was defeated, which Diablo acknowledged, then Zelanus' strength was real. If he tried to defeat such an opponent in haste, he would only be easily defeated. There is almost nothing that Zelanus can do. The only chance to win is to strike Zelanus with the most powerful Akumichi at the moment when he is caught off guard. Until then, the only thing he could do was to endure. And yet, Diablo seemed to be enjoying himself from the bottom of his heart. Don't you understand the difference in our abilities? Kufufufu, then get on with defeating me. Can't you? Then you're not as bad as you think. Diablo is in great shape, even against a superior opponent. Diablo is winning in the verbal fights. Zelanus is not amused by the situation, but that does not slow him down. He is cautious and does not let the words of his opponents fool him. Diablo also appreciates this point. A weak-minded enemy would have been defeated long ago. Zelanus' cautiousness is really annoying. After all, he does not use any big moves at all, even though he is supposed to make them believe that he is sure to eliminate Diablo, just by radiating his great energy. So far, Zelanus has used only martial arts. Zelanus's fighting energy created plasmas here and there in space, but they were just the aftermath of his fighting. Zelanus was overwhelming Diablo using only his body as a weapon. Diablo, however, was no match for Zelanus. Even the power that could have knocked him down with a single blow if he were to meet it head-on was no problem if he was able to parry it. With his extraordinary computing power, he was able to induce the power of Zelanus. Cheeky. Zelanus's emotions wave slightly, though not impatiently. It is irritation. Unlike when he was fighting Melon, Zelanus was confident that he would not be defeated if Diablo was his opponent. Therefore, Zelanus does not intend to throw the game away. However, this is the first time he has faced such a persistent opponent, and it seems to be very troublesome. Normally, this is an enemy who cannot block the way of Zelanus's supremacy. And yet, it has been obstructing us so persistently. Kufifufu, what's wrong? Are you tired already? With a calm and composed attitude, Diablo encouraged Zelanus. This irritated Zelanus. Somewhere in his mind, he was thinking that he was a small petty person standing in front of Zelanus, who was about to become the god of creation. However, Zelanus did not panic because of that. Unlike Melon, Zelanus does not use his power against the likes of Diablo. In the battle of the transcendents, the key to victory or defeat was how to wear down the opponent. As long as Zelanus continued his current fighting style, he would never be defeated. Diablo, who seemed to be in a comfortable position, was amazed at the steadfastness of Zelanus. It is much more troublesome than I thought it would be. Zelanus keeps fighting, so Diablo is able to deal with him. It would seem that Diablo could have left it as it was, but that would not give Zelanus an opening. In other words, there is no way to reverse the situation. So he tried to make him lose his cool, but he was more unmoved than he had expected. He showed some irritation, but that was all. It's a tremendous amount of spirit and boldness. Even Diablo is displeased when the little guy tries to get him to do something. In his experience, he can't count the number of times he's been crushed by them. And yet, Zelanus shows no sign of deviating from the path of victory that he had originally laid out. The only way out is to forcefully shake him. That would be a suicidal move. It would be a bad move. Diablo had decided that the best thing to do was to maintain the status quo. Of course, this was not all bad. Even if Diablo could not defeat Zelanus, Benimaru was still waiting in the wings. Zegion would be back, and the other leaders would regain their strength. The control room records this battle, so they can make use of it in the next battle. However, Diablo felt that it would still be tough. The strength of Zelanus was extraordinary. It was as if he had reached the realm of a god. There was a possibility that he could defeat Zelanus in an all-out battle, but if the battlefield was moved to the ground, he would have to suffer heavy casualties. Before that, the labyrinth itself was going to collapse. In that case, the damage would be immeasurable, and Rimuru would be grieved when he returned home. I can't let that happen, Diablo thought as he fought the fierce battle. Zelanus's target was definitely Zegion and Dino. Once Diablo was defeated, the fate of both of them would be over. This would make Zelanus stronger. Diablo has no choice but to protect them. Zelanus has broken through the labyrinth's hierarchy to reach Zegion and Dino. This means that with the Ultra Intuition, he can know where Zegion and the others are. The protection of Zegion and Dino could have endangered their surroundings. If they analyze the situation in this way, they can conclude that it is dangerous to continue fighting in the labyrinth. However, if they did so, they would not be able to revive Zegion with the power of tremors, and the difficulty level of defeating Zelanus would increase even more. We may not be the only ones who can't be resurrected, but there are many others who can. More than half of the holy demons cannot be revived by themselves. Unless they are fully alive, they will never come back to life after they die. Anyway, they should not be in a hurry. The best thing was for Diablo to continue his efforts to gather information. Then, Diablo tried to finish the simulation that had been repeated many times in his mind. The prerequisite for this is to be able to keep on being attacked by Zelanus without making mistakes, which would normally be considered impossible, but Diablo is not worried about that. He was absolutely confident that he would not make a mistake. However, it is an eternal truth that nothing is absolute in this world. Zelanus sneered. You are a small being who can only play tricks. Your master was a lowly slime too. Zelanus encouraged Diablo. Diablo himself would not have been disturbed by what was said. He might have been angry, but he would have been able to let it go. But not that one. The word was forbidden in every sense of the word. At least, it was not a line that should be uttered here in the labyrinth of tremors. What? The light went out of Diablo's eyes. A bottomless darkness peers into Zelanus. Without realizing it, Zelanus had violated the taboo. Dino and the others, who had witnessed Diablo's battle, were stunned by the sheer power of the battle. They were ordered by Diablo to evacuate, but they ignored him and watched the battle as if they had no duty to listen to him. And they regretted it. They lost the chance to escape. First of all, the level of the explosion is so high that they cannot even recognize it without maximum thought acceleration. The air is exploding and there is a tremendous explosion, but it is merely the aftermath, and the main thrust of the attack is a straightforward physical battle. Diablo is parrying Zelanus' blade with his scissors. Zelanus, with his flowing silver cilia, aims to cut off Diablo. Diablo, too, gracefully performs magic power manipulation to create a dummy and change the target. Seeing an opening, he tries to counterattack with scissors blades, but his counterattack is prevented by the ironclad defense. Diablo quickly gives up without pursuing too hard and prepares for the next attack. This is a model of how to fight. It was as if Diablo had studied how to fight against a superior opponent. Hey, can you copy that? No. Don't ask me that, you idiot. What kind of answer were you expecting? When Dino asked these questions, Pico, Gracia, and Mai responded harshly in that order. Since even Dino did not know the answer, the question was most troubling to him. By the way, Mai is not aware of the fight. When it disappears, it appears, explodes, and disappears again. That's how they picture it. Mai's true intention was to get out of this place as soon as possible. Anyway, Mai's ability is not enough to intervene in this battle. It is not only Mai. Apido can see them because she can move at the speed of God. However, it was expected that she would be crushed to pieces the moment she intervened. Diablo is crazy when it comes to the battle. To tell the truth, I was going to fight it in a good-looking way, but I would have lost even if I had put up a good fight. Well, I guess. If I could have bought a few minutes of time, I would have been satisfied. Dino could have tried a little harder, but he couldn't do it. With that kind of power, he would have been cut in half by a single blow. Mai, who could not even see, was not even willing to give her opinion in this conversation. She can only shake with a shiver as she realizes that she would have killed herself if she had not. Apido stays behind, perhaps worried about Zegion. Pico and Gracia were healing Zegion, but they were not good at it, and he had not regained consciousness. Mai is ready to escape at any moment, but it is only a comforting thought. If they were attacked earlier than Mai's consciousness, she would not be able to react and would be killed. All they can rely on is Ramrus's words that she has changed the resurrection point. All they could do was pray for Diablo's victory. Unlike those who stayed behind, Shuna quickly evacuated to the control room. Beretta, Geld, and Kumara were with her. Beretta was holding Geld, and Shuna and Kumara were supporting her. In that battle, there was nothing Shuna and her team could do. The burden on Ramrus would only increase if they had to return to the dead again and again. Shuna is not a fighter. She understands that she is only a liability to be protected, so she stands out of the way. Even Geld is a blow, so Shuna and Kumara are no match for him. Welcome home. I'm back. Shuna bowed her head as she was welcomed by Ramrus. Shuna starts to treat Geld. Then she looked at the big screen and was stunned by the sheer scale of what was happening. If it weren't for Diablo-sama, we would have been wiped out. Shuna revealed her true feelings. Yes. I can't deny it. Ramrus and Benimaru nodded in agreement. Beretta also looked at the big screen and exclaimed in the same way. It's a Diablo-sama, she said impressed, but Beretta was still in awe. Beretta, however, was sure that he would not be able to endure even a few seconds of the attack and defense. To be honest, I don't understand what is happening. Both fighters are not using any major techniques in this extreme battle. Even when their opponents have an opening, they continue to fight in a way that does not exhaust their strength. At first glance, it may look simple, but both fighters have tremendous skills. Cherries explains in response to Gabble's comment. I can't do it. I can't win by myself even if I use my intuition. Don't worry, Gopta. I can't do anything either. Gopta did not care about this not at all reassuring response. It was useless to worry about it, since it was not a matter of winning or not winning at this point. Gopta and Ranga were also a pair that could not follow the moves of Diablo and his teammates. In the case of Ranga, he had keen smell, but it was impossible to track them if they moved around at such a high speed. It was no longer a fight, and they would have been killed even if they had come to support him. The same goes for Kumar. There was nothing Kumara could do since even Ranga could not do it. She will be killed before she even understands what is happening. It was such a battle in an isolated world. I left Apido-san behind. Don't worry about it. Zelanus wants her in Zegion, so it's the right thing to do. I see. To be honest, I feel bad, but I set Apido-chan and Zegion's resurrection point to the Labyrinth prison. It's better than getting everyone else in trouble. However, I don't think the resurrection bracelet will come into play. Benimaru also came to the same conclusion as Dino. If Zelanus killed Apido or Zegion, it would be after they were out of the Labyrinth. If so, it would have made no sense to set the resurrection point. She just set the resurrection point just in case Apido or Zegion might use themselves as a decoy. It may seem cold, but this was a difficult decision for the Rammers. Unlike Rimuru, Benimaru and Rammers cannot easily perform a miracle to save everyone. Benimaru and his team also believed in the victory of Diablo. But then, you are a small being who can only play tricks. Your master was a lowly slime too. Zelanus' voice was heard in the control room. He even went to the trouble of interrupting the battle to encourage Diablo. Hearing this, someone muttered, "Oh. Probably Rammers or Trini. It is forbidden to say that." Benimaru slammed his fist on the desk and shattered it. "Excuse me, that's very expensive." Rammers' attention was charmed by his whispering. The control room was filled with murderous intent. However, Benimaru and the others were not in the room. Because there are still some people in the area who are threatened and angry. The warrior awakens. Anger, a rage that burns every cell in his body, brings Zegion back from the brink of death. Was it coincidence, or was it the inevitability of it all? Zelanus' one unnecessary word had changed the course of destiny. "Ah, Dino. It looks like I'm in good hands." Zegion stands up nonchalantly. Hey, don't do anything rash." "Yes. You're not completely healed yet." Gracia and Pico stop him, but Zegion does not nod. He turns his gaze to the insect lord Zelanus, determined to fulfill his mission. "Even Diablo is in that condition. I think it will be tough even for you," Dino said to Zegion, and Zegion smiled lightly. "Take care of Apido," Zegion said and pushed Dino forward. "Can you win, Zegion?" "Of course." Hearing Zegion's unwavering answer, Dino laughed. Not only did he think it was tough, but he really thought that there was no way he could win. Yet, Zegion declared, "I will win," as if it were a matter of course. Dino was amused by Zegion's laughable confidence. So he casually handed Zegion the greatsword in his hand. Dino's favorite mythical greatsword Hauga. "You can have it. Just kill him and let me get on with my life." Dino thought he heard a voice from somewhere far away saying, "You didn't do anything," but he ignored it completely. Zegion nodded lightly, saying, "I'll take it." He takes it with one hand and puts it on his back. At that moment, the Hauga glowed brightly. When the glow subsided, a pair of shining wings appeared on Zegion's back. It was the reborn form of Hauga, which had merged with Zegion. It was the moment when Zegion's new power Kazuha was born. Seeing this, Dino commented, "It seems that Kazuha recognized you easily. I wasn't recognized as the Lord after all." Zegion does not care about this and continues on his way to the battlefield. Zegion stood quietly next to Diablo. "I'll take over." Diablo was just about to attack Zelanus when he heard Zegion's calm voice, and Diablo regained his composure. "You know what I'm talking about, don't you?" He insulted Rimuru-sama. "We can't let him get away with it." "Of course. I promise I'll take care of it." Zegion never says what he can't do. Diablo, who knew him well, nodded his head in satisfaction. "Fine. You'll take it from here." "Thank you." Thus, Zegion and Diablo switched places, and the father-son duel of the century began.